portrait, she integrates Jungian psychology, multicultural, and psychodynamic approaches in her work, supporting individuals in personal growth.
Okay, hi everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I know conference kind of comes to the end, so I'm glad that you all been able to make it. And today I'm going to talk about memory, gender, unconscious, anima and animus, and look at that through the lens of my personal experience and just the journeys I've been on this year. My soul, where are you? These words appear on the first page of the brochure from Jung house on Lake Zurich in Switzerland. I happened to be there on the only first day the museum was open, which was February 20th, 2025, during our trip to Switzerland. The task of visiting was daunting and nearly impossible. We had just arrived to Geneva that very morning and were settling into my friend's house. I had little hope that we would make it to the Jung's house, as a journey would take over 3 hours. Prior to the trip, I had emailed the museum staff, who informed me that while the museum would indeed be open that day, it's only opening that week. The guided tour tickets were already sold out. With that in mind, I assumed that I would not be able to go and see the interior of the house, Jung's office, his library. I was not planning to go. But then, to my surprise, my husband told me that he absolutely intended for us to go because he knew that how much it meant to me, and so we set off. The drive went smoothly. Along the way, I found myself thinking about how much I wanted to see Swiss currency, since Switzerland doesn't use euro but its own francs. At the rest stop, I unexpectedly found a wallet in the bathroom filled with Swiss francs. I had a chance to examine the bills in detail before returning the wallet to the cashier. Here you go. Once we arrived to Zurich, I went straight to the museum, where I saw that the tour of the house was already in progress. To my surprise, the museum staff kindly allowed me to join, and where I was, in the heart of the tower, seeing it all, Jung's study and office where he once saw the patients, and with the image of Christ on the Turin tapestry hanging before his desk. This image, I learned, was often kept behind the curtain, as it was too intense to contemplate it continuously. Where was a library also, filled with Jung's original books, he was still faintly holding the scent of his cigars. There was a chair and a view overlooking the lake. Later, I walked down to the lake itself and spent time contemplating the misty, shimmering water of Lake Zurich, where Jung had spent countless hours sailing his boat. Strangely, the lake resembled one from my dream. Sitting on the shore, I meditated, and in that moment, I saw the image of myself moving slowly with the cane, yet fully embodying the archetype of wise feminine. This encounter marked the beginning of my journey this year into the realm of divine feminine, the integration of anima and animus, and deeper exploration of who I am and who I aspire to become in the second half of my life. This path had been filled with moments of synchronicities and quiet miracles. Among them was my trip to Mexico City for the Unearthing Feminine journey, and these transformative events still continue to unfold. In the Jung's house, I purchased Animus and Anima, 2 essays of Emma Jung. These books served as inspiration for this talk, as I sought to integrate the foundational insights from 1955 with contemporary research from 2020s on evolving concept of anima and animus. Several ideas from Emma Jung essays stand out strikingly relevant and resonant with the current zeitgeist. The anima in a male psyche can disturb the idealized image of self. the collective image of women carried in psyche of individual men and the collective image of men carried by women had significant psychological impact. Discussion of anima and animus pertain to spiritual process of growth, not fixed or absolute realities. This reflection prompted me to ask, how are anima and animus currently represented in the collective unconscious, and how might these representations shift or transform in the future? In 1955, Emma Jung wrote that today women seldom find satisfaction in established religion, especially if she is a Protestant. She argued that in the second half of life, a woman must attend to demands of her unconscious and her animus, which represent the need for intellectual and spiritual development. If ignored, this call may lead to neurosis or other forms of psychological distress. According to Emma Jung, the animus in a woman's psyche become increasingly spiritual over time and calls for shift away from traditional roles such as housekeeper and mother toward more spiritually engaged roles such as leader and teacher. However, she also warned of the dangers of overpowering animus, which can take over a woman's psyche entirely, leading to depression, loss of vitality, and general dissatisfaction with life. This, she noted, is delicate balance within female psyche, as animus tend to be culturally overvalued and placed on pedestal, especially when compared to anima. Emma Jung also made a poignant observation regarding American women, specifically drawing on experience of her friend, American woman physician. She described how many American women suffer from devaluation of their own femininity, often lacking a sense of worth of the feminine principle. By contrast, very few men devalue their own gender. Men, she noted, tend to take pride in their masculinity. Back then, she wrote, there are many girls who would gladly be men, but a youth or a man who would like to be a girl would be looked upon as almost perverse. Is this rhetoric from 50s still relevant today? I believe it is. In clinical practice, I witness deep suffering of individuals, particularly males, who feel like a woman trapped in a male body or who experience gender fluidity on a daily basis. This distress is often linked to unresolved trauma, particularly in the father relationship, and to the broader social rejection of non-traditional expressions of masculinity. According to Emma Jung, unlike the animus, the anima is always relational in nature. She writes, the anima figure, however, is characterized by the fact that all of its forms are at the same time forms of relationships. Even if anima appears as priestess or as a witch, the figure has special relationship with the man whose anima is embodied, so that it either initiates or bewitches him. The anima for a man is often experienced as a lot far less desirable and socially acceptable than the animus for a woman. There is something uncanny about anima, something surrounded by taboo and mystery. She can take a form of siren, luring a man into her realm, disorienting sense of self, and yet paradoxically it's also being thought of anima as someone or something from where men get access to the unconscious. Traditionally, wisdom and prophecy emerge through feminine voice, the oracle of Pythia, the Sibyl gift of foresight, and creative frenzy inspired by muses. Anima carries within her capacity for reciprocity and openness with irrational. She serves a male psyche as a mirror, reflection of hidden depths and unexplored emotions. One aspect of anima must eventually be integrated into male personality for psychological equilibrium. However, there is another aspect of anima, one that represents the archetype of the divine, something that cannot be assumed. This is a sacred aspect of divine feminine associated with wisdom, with Sophia. It raises a compelling question. Do we in today's world still have access to this wisdom, the archetype of knowledge of divine feminine? Is Sophia still present in our collective unconscious, waiting to be reawakened in a time when rationality dominates the irrational and intuitive voice of anima is often silenced? And how can the concept of anima and animus be transformed within today's evolving gender discourse? What enables us to access and navigate new gender realities? According to Susan McKinsey, the concept of unus mundus, the interconnectedness of psyche and the world, offer valuable framework. It supports the notion of identity as fluid, relational, and perpetually under construction. Within this concept, queer identity is not defined as permanent or binary categorization, but as fluid as in evolving nature. McKinsey also draws on archetype of archaic hermaphrodite as a symbol of creative union, a merging of opposites that embodies the alchemical principle of wholeness. This ancient image represents a deep transcendental function, transcendental experience of totality, suggesting a psychic ideal beyond dualism. From this perspective, the conscious integration of both masculine and feminine potentials within each individual and the acceptance of emergent form of gender fluidity can be viewed as an achievement of gender maturity. In this way, Jungian thought, when revisited through contemporary lenses, continues to offer a tool for understanding spiritual and psychological processes underpinning modern gender identities. Change has already begun to unfold on unconscious level. According to this newest research from 2023 by Mario Sayes et al., who explored the presence of an interaction of anima, animus, and androgynous archetype in the dreams of contemporary individuals, the emergence of androgynous figure had become increasingly significant. That in the dreams, the concept of differentiated androgynous archetype appears as a transitional symbol pointing toward the conjunctio oppositorium, the union of masculine and feminine. This alchemical union gives rise to a being that neither masculine or feminine, but rather the unknown other. And unknown other can be anything. This is the third entity that transcends duality and represents unifying force. It reflects process where two become three, a symbol of integration and wholeness within individuation process. This research emphasized that non-binary archetypal experience supports the construction and expression of diverse gender or transgender identities, including agender, bigender, pangender experiences that we hear, all of us who work with young people or just people in general hear about in our consulting rooms. So rather than associating anima and animus strictly with binary gender roles, the introduction of androgynous archetype allows us to be more fluid, more inclusive in understanding of psychic development. This evolving symbolic landscape enriches Jungian model of individuation, helping to embrace multiplicity and fluidity of gender in contemporary psychological experience. And now, since I'm done, I'm going to show you a video of Jung's house as I seen it unexpectedly on that morning. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's not working. Okay, sorry. Now I need a tech support. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay. And let's just exit this for now.
Yeah, we can exit that. This is the video. So you can see the long alley with trees, look kind of uncanny. So you approach and you're just already in that mode. Like I'm losing my sense of reality, going to some unconscious underworld. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker will be Heather Hines. Heather Hines is a clinical social worker and